Hello, everybody, and welcome to Binging with Badness, the only podcast to win both the Electoral College and the popular vote. My name is Mitchell McIntyre.
And I'm Vanessa Vogel.
And it feels like it's been forever since we've done one of these.
Yeah.
It's been, and it hasn't even been a week. It's been 4 days.
Is it really been 4 days?
Yeah.
Wow. Welcome to Tuesday part 3.
I was going to say, because we were so used to doing, like, a movie every day for, like, 5 or 6 days. Mm-hmm. And then we missed Holly and Ivy on Tuesday, which we'll get to. Get off my back.
He wasn't talking to you. He was talking to me.
No, I wasn't. But yeah, so we'll deal with that. But it's been a very busy couple of days here in America, for those of you who don't know.
It's a great day to be American, everybody.
For the first time in about 4 years. But yeah, this isn't a politics podcast. I don't want to get into politics. But
There's a difference between politics and human rights.
I know, that's exactly where we're at. But yeah, so it's been busy, but it was nice to sit down and watch a Hallmark Christmas movie.
That ends well.
That ends well. That's true. It was nice. It was like, it kind of brings you back around to, oh yeah, it's November. It's Christmassy time. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's cold as balls.
Yeah, sweater weather.
It is sweater weather. Plus, Starbucks just came out with their Christmas cups.
We got a free one.
We did. Which is nice. So, yeah, it was nice to come back around. And now we have 4 more of these to go. 5 more of these, because we got to make up for Holly and Ivy.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be too bad. Before we get to that, we're gonna do something different, because I've noticed, and I know you've noticed, people seem to really like hearing about these Hallmark movies. The real Hallmark movies? I don't know. The straight up just Hallmark Channel ones. But the Hallmark movie and mystery ones don't do as hot. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I kind of know why. They're not as good. Which is true, as we're about to get in with it, with this one. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is, when we do these Hallmark movie and mystery ones, we're going to, live stream them.
Yeah.
We're just going to watch them together. We'll do a 2-hour live stream on YouTube, probably?
Yeah,
or Twitch. It'll be posted afterwards. It'll be just like a regular podcast. I imagine. Mm. But that way you get our thoughts as they happen, and it'll be like watching a movie with us. Something I'm sure you've all always wanted, right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right?
Right.
Right. So I think we're going to do that tomorrow. I don't know when. I'll tell you on Twitter. Twitter.com/emptysquare. And if you're a patron on Patreon, you get first crack at it. So if you want to chip in a $1 or $2 over there, that would be nice. That's patreon.com/emptysquare. I don't remember if I told you guys about our new tier, which is...
What's the new tier, cutie?
Why, thanks for asking, cutie. For those of you who don't know, if you want to go on to our Patreon and you're like, gosh, I've been entertained by these two. I sure would like to give them $100 on a monthly basis. First of all, thanks. That's truly insane. Second of all, we will give you the capability in the new year, because we can't do it now, because holy shit are we swamped with these Hallmark movies. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But we will watch a movie that you give us. No matter what it is.
No matter what it is?
Within reason.
What reason? What is reason?
We have full veto for them, but nothing... we're not going to watch a Serbian film, alright? Okay. That doesn't mean a movie from Serbia. I mean the movie A Serbian Film. Hi, that's a good movie to bring up on this light and happy Christmas podcast. Do yourselves a favor. Look up the movie called A Serbian Film.
Don't do that.
Do it in front of your kids.
Don't do... Take that back. Put a disclaimer there.
She swatted me in the tummy.
Because it was a bad idea.
But no, so we have full veto power, obviously. We don't want to watch anything I don't know, super bad or disturbing. So if you're just going to do it to fuck with us, just like, I'll make them watch Teeth. Ha ha ha. No, we're not going to do it. But if it doesn't matter how bad the movie is, if you're just like, we're going to fuck with them and they're going to watch Troll 2, I'll find you. But I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm. And you get to hear all our thoughts about that. So
that's
cool.
true. Like, we haven't had a truly bad movie so far. And spoiler alert, we still haven't. But we haven't had one that's like really just gutturally bad. So if you want to see how that happens,
there are some truly bad movies in the universe.
Sometime in the new year.
I'm sure Santa Shark is not the blockbuster thriller
I think
that
it's
I
Santa
want.
Jaws, isn't it?
Isn't it?
I think so.
Point is, it's not the blockbuster thriller that I want it to be.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you want to throw up, I believe it's $100 a month. You only have to do it for a month. We'll get you.
Unless you want us to watch multiple movies, I mean.
That's true. Depending on how many people do this tier, which I don't think is going to be very many. But we'll watch basically whatever you want. It can be a good movie too. Like, don't think you have to just throw trash at us. If you're like, hey, you guys want to watch Citizen Kane? Yes. Obviously. You're not going to do that, are you?
No, they're going to make us watch some obscure Japanese movie whose plot makes no sense.
God help me. But anyway.
I've seen a lot of those movies.
But yeah.
Advent Children.
Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Talk about plots that don't make any forking sense.
That's just a Final Fantasy thing, man. But yeah, so that's a little update on how things are going over here. If you want to give us a little extra Christmas money, we will give you the gift of our presents.
Mm-hmm. Our thoughts.
But after Christmas, because once again, 40 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Whoopsie. I'm now realizing, like, as we're doing these, the immensity of that thing. Because, like, if we just did the 2 Hallmark movies a week, that's not too big a deal.
Yeah.
But by Thanksgiving, when they do a new movie every day.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's our new life, yes. Mm-hmm.
So that should be just a hoot. But anywho, so that's where we're at right now. That's the future. Let's talk about the current.
The present.
The present, which is a movie called Never Kiss a Man in a Christmas Sweater.
Who's in this thing, cutie?
Who is in this thing? That's a good question. Let me tell you what it's about first. A single mom, Maggie, is facing Christmas alone until Lucas crashes into her life and becomes an unexpected house guest. Together they overcome Christmas while finding comfort in their growing bond. This movie stars Ashley Williams. Ashley Williams is most known for being a contingency mother named Victoria on How I Met Your Mother, which is a show we just got through watching.
Yes. Where she also falls in love with a douchebag architect.
Oh, snap. I didn't even cop that, but you are right.
She has a very specific, what is this, casting tech?
It's a niche. She's oh my god,
typecasted into girl who falls in love with douchebag architect, and it kind of doesn't sort of work. You'll see.
Well, we'll get to it. She was also in the Jim Gaffigan show. I guess she was the female lead on that. I never saw it.
Did she fall in love with a douchebag architect?
I don't think so. I think that was just Jim Gaffigan. I have a friend who loves Jim Gaffigan. I wonder if you've seen it.
Oh.
Then there's Christmas in Evergreen. Christmas in Evergreen, Tidings of Joy. Holiday Hearts, which sounds like a Fallout New Vegas Christmas DLC. And Christmas in Evergreen, Letters to Santa. There's something I've noticed about looking up these actors and actresses who do these kinds of things like every year.
Yeah.
Hallmark has series.
They have series?
Yeah, because Christmas in Evergreen, that's like a trilogy at least. And we'll get into the other one when we talk about Niall Matter, who's our male lead. He's Canadian, you know, and is famous for being in the movie The Predator, the worst of the Predator franchise. That's when we saw in theater.
Oh, the one where they speak garbage at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And we saw him run?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. I never watched The Predator, like the actual actor run in that suit, because it takes all the terror out of him.
I will say, like, I was so excited for this movie because it's written and directed by Shane Black. And for those of you who don't know, Shane Black did movies like Lethal Weapon, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Iron Man 3, the best Iron Man film. That's right, I said it. He's a very funny, very good writer-director. Most of his movies are set at Christmas. He's my boy. And I was like, oh, he's doing a Predator movie. Finally, another good one. And woof.
The Predator physically ran, and it was possibly... Because you could see how janky that suit was. Like, it was not great. And also the plot was really just...
Such a bad... Like, literally, and I'm not making this a joke. It's weaponized autism.
Oh, yeah, that happened. That literally
Like,
happened.
that's not a joke. I'm not trying to be edgy.
That's a...
The son of the main character, who's not this guy, has autism.
Yeah, and it makes him magic.
Yeah.
Makes him a wizard.
Oh my lord. Anyway, that's another... Hey, if you want to chip in $100, we'll watch that again.
And then there's an AI at the end that they suddenly magically know what Predator speak is.
Yeah. Again, another podcast for another movie. He was also in... Halo, apparently. He was in Christmas in Dollywood, Christmas Pen Pals, Marrying Father Christmas, Engaging Father Christmas. See what I mean about series? And of course, Frozen.
Original flavor?
In Love.
What?
There's a movie called Frozen in Love. The title, is like the script of the word Frozen, looks exactly like the Disney one, but it has nothing to do with it. It is a Hallmark movie.
Is it like one of those animated films that look exactly like the thing, except it's really poorly made?
No, live action.
Really?
It's just, that's just the title. The director is Alan Harmon. What's that? You're right. It does sound familiar. Because Alan Harmon did Jingle Bell Bride. This is the first time...
Oh, we've got a repeat.
We've had a repeat. A repeat director has had 2 movies out this year. I don't know if it'll be his last. But if you want to know the other stuff he directed, go back and watch our first episode. Because I'm not doing it again. But yeah.
He's okay. Jingle Bell Bride.
Jingle Bell Bride was okay. I will say this movie is better than Jingle Bell Bride.
Yeah, he improved.
And it is actually... This is based on a novel.
Wasn't Jingle Bell Bride also based?
Yes, it was. Jingle Bell Bride also was. It was written by Debbie Johnson. So if you see this movie and you like it, go check out the book. And it was written for the screen. The teleplay is written by Nina Weinman, who did Christmas at Dollywood, Homegrown Christmas, Flip That Romance, Pride, Prejudice, and Mistletoe, and Operation Christmas. So a lot of star power back here. This is again, people in this Hallmark ecosystem, they show up quite a bit. And I imagine if we do this again next week, next week, yeah, if we do this again next year, we'll see the same kind of people. Provided
we get to see Victoria again.
Yeah, she's in quite a few of these.
Nice.
And I think she has been the best actress so far.
Yeah, that's true.
Or the most likable, at the very least. But that could be past biases. Anywho, curtain up. We start immediately with a small child talking about his father being stationed in Germany and how great it is that Santa will always be able to find him. Oh! There is an undercurrent of military pride.
Yeah,
in a lot of these movies.
We've established that Hallmark has a tie-in with, what was it, the USO?
The USO. This is true. And that this turns out to be, it's not a major point in the film, but it's an undercurrent.
It's kind of a major point.
It connects us to a lot of different plot points. And there's a point, we'll get to it at the end. Remember when I talked about manipulative filmmaking?
Yeah.
And how it's easily spotted, but it still affects you? End of this movie. I'll talk about it later. I think you know which one I'm talking about.
When we get to that part, I think.
Anyway, the main character is a teacher. Her name is Maggie, who does the teacher fake out that they all like to do at the end of the year. Just like, okay, folks, I'm only going to give you 1 hour of homework a day on your Christmas vacation. And they're like, aw, because that hour is have fun. I'm like, oh, she's one of the funny teachers.
I mean, you gotta be funny somehow, some way, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a teacher. Like,
I'll bet you that joke They were probably in what, grade 2, grade 3?
Yeah, that joke kills.
Yeah, that joke kills every single time. I wonder if it's fun being a third grade teacher.
I think it is, because, like, they're cognizant enough to understand, like, stuff.
But they don't have real problems?
They don't have real problems yet. Most of them don't, except the USO kids, right?
Yeah. You know what? Good point. I take that back.
No, but, like, the things you teach them are real simple, right?
Yeah.
They already know how to read, write, math, right? Is that third grade? That's before third grade, right? Second grade, third grade? But, like, you get to go into slightly more complex things, and you don't have to explain basic nonsense to them.
That's
like,
true.
The stuff you still is basic, but, like, they understand, base
It's
level.
a little bit more complicated. Yeah. She wishes everybody a happy holiday and a happy Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was a nice touch. That is the first indication that there's another winter holiday in these now 8 Christmas movies we've seen. The main character is divorced with a daughter who is spending part of the holiday over Christmas with her dad. This is going to be the first year that they do not spend Christmas together.
Which blows.
Yeah, and Maggie volunteers at a sort of like latchkey program for kids whose parents are overseas for the military. And I will say, all of the kids, all of the child actors in this movie are really good. Yeah. Like, there's no one kid who was like, I am reading my lines. I am reading another line. Inflection. Like, they all sounded fairly natural. Which is good. Like, I never want to rag on child actors. Because acting is hard.
And if you're that young and you've got that much talent, that's just natural occurring. So
acting is hard, and you're 8. But like I said, this one's like these. There's about 3 of them who appear frequently. There's this kid, his older sister, and the main character's daughter.
Yes. And also, yeah, there's Ellen, her daughter.
Yeah.
There is Joey, the male lead's nephew.
Another nephew, by the way.
Yeah, but he doesn't say he grows a foot tall every time he sees it.
That's
so
true.
fine.
Maybe that's starting to slip.
And then there's that kid and his sister.
Yeah. Joey doesn't show up too much, though.
He's a little bit of a plot point. That's how we meet him.
Yeah. Actually, here we are. So they go outside. Maggie and her daughter Ellen, they're like, let's go home. School is boring. And they run into this guy wearing a ugly Christmas sweater. This is an ugly Christmas sweater, the one he's wearing.
Yeah, it is, like, at the neck there is an elf body.
Yeah, it's a very small elf.
Yeah.
And, like, your head is supposed to be the elf's head, and then there's, like, a little small elf body with little arms and legs.
Yeah.
When they talk about ugly Christmas sweaters, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, you're kind of embarrassed to wear this thing.
Hell yeah. That's pure Christmas. They build up another ugly Christmas sweater later on in this movie. And they're like, it's ugly, get ready for it. And it's not even a little bit. We'll get to it later, but Jesus. So he's out with his son, and the son is on the swings, and does a full-on half-gainer into the dirt. Like
I don't know how he did it either. Like,
I don't know, like, because they don't show him falling, right? Like,
no.
They cut away, and then all of a sudden he's on the ground.
Yeah. And they hear thunk, and he's just like, oh no, my head, spine, body.
Like, he just face plants it. And Maggie swoops in, she's like, I'm a doctor. And like, no, she's a teacher, but hey. So they check on the kid, he's fine. Christmas sweater dad is hanging in there. He wasn't supposed to take his kid on the swings.
And he was on his phone the whole time.
Yeah, nice parenting. I'm sure we'll never see him again. The next day at the Fort Pine Military Center, which is the latchkey program I initiated or I alluded to earlier, Maggie and her daughter volunteer, and Maggie offers to go pick up a Christmas tree, and her friend is like, I don't know, it's pretty heavy, can you do it? That's weirdly sexist.
I mean, she did probably order like a 10-foot tree. Like, you see, okay, we should probably predicate this with the fact that there's no less than 4 Christmas trees in every single shot of this movie.
That's true. It is very well decorated.
The gymnasium that they're holding this whole latchkey program in has at least a dozen trees in it. Mm-hmm. And they actually make fun of that later on in the movie after a thing.
That's true.
And I actually thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
But, like, and so they need another one?
I guess for fun.
And we see that tree was like taller than all the other trees.
It wasn't really like when she picked it up. It wasn't.
Yeah, no. I think that's a different tree. I think that's a stunt tree.
Yeah. So I just thought it was strange that her friend, another woman, was like, I don't know, it's pretty big. You should wait for some men to help you. She's like, motherfucker. But I will say she's Maggie as an actress is very like affable and funny, and she pulls it off pretty well. So she goes, she picks it up, and she buys the tree, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't get people to help you out. She's like, I got it, and she holds it up and swings it like a pugil stick, and knocks out the guy from earlier.
What's a pugil stick?
A pugil stick. Did you ever watch American Gladiators?
No.
Okay, so it's a stick. It kind of looks like a Q-tip.
Okay.
With big, like...
Oh, is that thing where you stand on a balance beam and then you smack each other with it until you fall off?
Yeah. So she just swings it like a menace. Ha! And knocks the guy ass over tea kettle.
Yeah, he runs full gainer right into that thing. Like,
yeah, and she's like, yeah, she's like, oh my god, I just killed Christmas Sweater Dad. And he's like, tell my wife I love her. And so she immediately calls for an ambulance.
Which was kind of funny, because she was just like, oh, I hit a guy. No, not with a car.
Not with a car, with a tree. No, it didn't fall on him. You know what, it's better if you come here.
Just come here, he's hurt.
Yeah. We also, I should have mentioned this earlier, Maggie is divorced. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And so in those 2 years, she's just thrown herself in her work, and she's just all about other people, never taking time for herself. Sound familiar? So cut to the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, she's
a really good person, so she stays by his side.
Yeah, like, first of all, like, Christmas trees aren't that heavy.
That's true.
They're not. They're awkward and they're big, but they're not that heavy.
Yeah.
And she didn't hit him that hard.
Well, it's more that he ran into the tree.
Yeah. But regardless, you'd have to run in pretty gosh darn hard to apparently break your wrist. Because as we get here, she's on the phone. She's like, yeah, he's just getting out of surgery now. And I was like, what did you do to him?
And it's like, he landed flat on his back, so I understand that he has a concussion, right?
Yeah, minor concussion, which that happens.
Makes sense. You ran into a tree, you fell backward, you hit on the cement.
But I don't think Brock Lesnar himself could wield a tree on accident. Like, unless you're on purpose, I'm gonna kill a motherfucker with this tree. To do the amount of damage that Maggie did.
I mean, it's possible he, like, had a lot of force in there, you know? Because, like, I knew a girl that jumped off a swing once and broke both her wrists at the same time, right?
Yeah, I suppose. I just think it's funny that we're like, oh, he knocked him out and he fell over. And then we come out, she's in the hospital, he's in surgery. She's like, I'll pay for all your medical bills because America's a trash fire. There's a lot of like, whoa, we jumped.
Yeah, but she's also rich AF. I don't know how, but she
is. Oh, we'll get to that.
For a second grade teacher, she's
making bank because her house has a guest house.
Yeah, let's talk about her house for like a quick second.
We should get there chronologically.
Okay.
Just so we're not jumping all over the place, which is good because it's pretty close. So the guy stays unconscious. For like a whole scene. And his family shows up. And there's a lady and then there's another guy. And she's just like, I get that you're his wife. Who the hell are you? She's like, oh, I'm not his wife. That's his sister-in-law. And then the guy is his brother. And the little kid was not his son, but his nephew. And they're like, hey, his wrist is broken. It's like, oh, well, that's not too bad. Yeah. He has a trip planned next week. Like, oh, that's not a problem. Like, you can spend it. Yeah, no, it was skiing.
In Aspen.
And he needs to stick around.
She literally looks at them and be like, oh, no, not skiing.
Yeah, going skiing. He's like, not skiing. She has thoroughly ruined this man's holiday. And he will never shut up about it.
He shuts up after 30 minutes.
But it does take a while. So, yeah, I guess he's staying for Christmas. something that his family wanted him to do anyway.
Yeah, they were just trying to guilt him the old-fashioned way. Like,
Yeah.
the reason why he was wearing that sweater is because it made their son happy. And they're just like, oh, look, can't you see how happy you are with the kid? Don't you want to stay forever?
Yeah, exactly. So we cut very briefly to Maggie's house, and it's honking.
Yeah, it's a 2-story, like, almost manor-looking thing.
It is. It looks like the Chateau Christmas.
No, it's a different house.
No, it is.
But no, it's this 2-story. It's got like a huge kitchen. It's got a living room, and I think it's got like 12 bedrooms. Like it's huge.
It's huge. And then there's a bunch of trees, and then she has a guest house, which is so unneeded. She's gonna turn it into an art room.
Yeah, I don't know what private school she works for, but she's making six digits. Like
she's making that bank.
Or like her ex-husband is paying some alimony.
Mm-hmm. They cyberstalk the Christmas sweater dad. His name's Lucas. I don't know why I keep calling him that. Lucas. Just to make sure if he's the litigious type, and it doesn't look like he's gonna sue them.
Yeah.
So the next day, she goes to meet him at the hospital. And he's like, oh, I remember you. And she's like, yeah, I'm sorry. You were at the swings. And she was like, yes, just the swings. I totally didn't hit you with a Christmas tree landing you in the hospital. And he's like, oh, now I remember.
Oh, yeah.
He needs a follow-up surgery in the next week, which means his trip is well and truly off.
Yeah.
Maggie is super apologetic, and they go have like a walk around the garden of the hospital. Mm-hmm. It is late December. He is in a thin medical bathrobe and his underwear, and does not look cold at all. Maggie looks colder than he does. Anyway,
maybe his anger is keeping him warm.
I guess.
Or maybe he's just on a lot of drugs.
That's probably more like it. Like we said, Lucas' sibling wanted him to stay for Christmas, and like an ugly Christmas sweater party they're throwing, which is why he was wearing what he was wearing. They say if you opened up his kid's coat, he was wearing the same thing, which we never see.
Yeah, the kid's wearing the exact same thing no matter what we see him in.
Yeah. And the idea was like, look, you guys are matching, and he's cute, and don't you want to stay? They are straight up guilting this man. And apparently they've been pulling this kind of stuff the whole time he was here, to the point where it says, wait a minute, they didn't pay you to maim me, did they?
Oh no, I would have gotten way more money.
And she said, no, I would have encouraged it though. Lucas doesn't like Christmas for whatever reason. That is not expounded on ever.
No, it is.
Is it?
Later on. In the sleigh ride.
I must have missed it. You'll have to jump in on me on that one. Lucas is an architect. And his friend is somebody they went to college with. And he just is this friend never really shows up again.
No, he does.
Not in anything like interesting.
Well, he shows up periodically throughout the thing. Was he the one who was driving him home, or was it his brother?
I thought it was his brother.
It's probably his brother.
All these white people look alike.
I know. His white people brother though has an interracial marriage. Did you count?
That is nice. Yeah, there's he's white and she's Asian.
Yeah, and they had a very Asian child.
That's true.
That's why when he was at the park with the kid, and I was just like, oh, that's an interesting choice. Usually they find someone of matching ethnicities, but okay. And then they were like, yeah, no, here's his actual family. Like, I see, that makes sense
here. So yeah, his friend is an architecture professor, and then he is an architect proper. He needs a place to stay because he's living in a hotel right now. Mm-hmm. And they're like, his family's like, oh, you can stay with us. And he's like, no, I need my own space. You have children and other people. And Maggie's like, hey, I have a guest house. And he's like, no, I'll just find my own spot. And she's like, for fuck's sake, just stay in my house.
I mean, he's rich AF. He could have stayed in that hotel and afforded it.
What's that?
He's rich AF.
Yeah, that's true. He is supposed to be. They're both supposed to be rich, actually. Actually, you know what?
How?
He confirms that with his Christmas gift at the end.
That's true.
But yeah, so they are just like, here, stay in my guest house, and he's like, I guess I'll have to because I have sweet FA. Mm-hmm. And at one point they say, isn't there a saying, never kiss a man in a Christmas sweater?
And she looks right at her friend like, no.
No. I was going to say. It's like, oh, isn't there saying never kiss a man in a Christmas sweater? No. I don't think so. I've never heard it. But this whole movie is predicated on it.
Well, just the title, really. You could have changed it to Ugly Sweater Town, USA, and it would still have had the same impact.
I'd have watched it. I guess Lucas has had a rough year, which makes him a dick. And he is a dick for much of the film.
Yeah.
This is the least likable male lead we've had.
Yeah, like, we were, like, 20 minutes in, and I'm like, you are a douchebag. Oh, my God.
I was thinking, like, you'd better have the most tragic backstory to make up for you being such a wang. And spoiler alert, he does not. Maggie tries her level best to make it up to him.
She did kind of maim him.
Yeah, but he no-sells it every single time. Okay. He's like, I'll bring you food. I'll do this. You're staying in my house rent-free. You can come decorate the house with us. You can do Christmas stuff. And she's like, no. I gotta mope. All right. Ellen worries about her mom because this is the first time she's going to be spending time away from her. And she's going to be alone on Christmas. And that's, it's kind of nice parental relationship between the two. That night, they are decorating the tree, decorating the house. And Lucas knocks on the back door. And she's like, oh, you changed your mind? You want to decorate with us? He goes, no, actually, I was wondering if there's a problem with the Wi-Fi. I was streaming this truly terrible movie, and I need to figure out how it ends. Same, bro. I've been there.
He was just like, well, I've already spent an hour on it. What's another 23 minutes?
It's another 23 minutes. And so they're just like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. And they're trying to put the star on the tree. And Ellen goes, wait a minute. You're tall. And he goes, thank you. Maggie tries to invite him to stay in for carols and cocoa and decorating the tree, and he's like, no merriment, no fun for me.
I mean, he does fix up the tall stuff for them real quick.
But and Maggie's just like, for God's sakes, tell me what I can do for you, because this is annoying. And he's like, nothing. I just want to stay mad. And she's like, listen, when stuff gets bad, first of all, my holiday's not going so great either. I'm about to lose my daughter to my ex-husband for a little bit. This is the first Christmas I'm alone. And whenever I'm alone and feeling bad, I volunteer. Maybe take your finger out of your ass and come volunteer with me. And he's just like, ugh, I guess.
But she's such a ball of sunshine about it. So.
She is. She's way less antagonistic than I would be.
Also, she has an app on her phone where she can restart the router without going over there and kicking it.
Yeah, that's nice. We meet Maggie's ex-husband, who seems like an upstanding individual, but we will find out later that he is not. And Lucas comes to say goodbye to Ellen, which is kind of nice. And like I said, this kid is a pretty solid actor. And Maggie takes her leaving pretty hard, and Lucas does his best to make sure she's doing okay, which is kind of nice. This is his redemption arc. So apparently Lucas is in line to run his big architecture firm in New York, and he's having what is absolutely a midlife crisis. His ex-girlfriend called off the engagement, and he's going to quit his job because he's suffering from success.
He was working 70 hours a week. That does blow.
Yes, that does blow, but he's also making the money. And he's just like, oh, it's just so hard. I'm just so rich and successful, but none of it's making me happy. And just like,
I feel like this is an archetype.
I think so too. And he's like, well, you got to do something with all that talent of yours. And he goes, yeah, but at what cost? And this is why he's so bummed out. It's just, he's going through a midlife crisis. And I get it. Being an architecture is hard, and working a lot of hours sucks.
And your girlfriend just broke off your engagement.
Yeah, and I get that. I do. But, shut up, Richie.
I mean, the engagement thing's probably the most...
That is probably what's hitting him the hardest. And this is his acknowledgement that he put work in front of his family life. And
yeah.
But there's middle ground. And again, we're going to find out later how well off he is monetarily.
Yeah. But to quote not Oprah, if you don't have time for a marriage,
If you don't have time to get married.
How do you have time for a marriage?
Exactly. Oh God, are we referencing other Hallmark films?
Yeah.
It's happening. Meanwhile, at the volunteer place, the theme of the party is now gingerbread houses, which is super convenient, given that he's an architect. And he teaches kids how to build architecturally sound gingerbread houses.
Which beats my ability to gingerbread house.
Actually, I was going to say, I'm going to use, when we build our gingerbread house this year, if we don't just get a pre-made one like we usually do, because it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
I kind of want to use some of these ideas, because they seem like they would work.
Apparently, you have to double wall your walls to keep your roof up. And why don't... It has occurred to me, no one actually taught us how to make a gingerbread house. They just gave us the constituent parts and be like, I don't know, have fun.
Make it.
Which is why all of ours just turned into a pile of gingerbread and icing.
We just decorate. Yeah, like at a point when we didn't know they made pre-made houses, we would just take the stuff and decorate each cookie individually and went at it like that.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just a shambles of a...
Pretty much. It's just the rickety ass thing. Later, we have a snowball fight montage, and all of the kids talk him into making basically a clubhouse that looks like a gingerbread house.
And it's the same goddamn bouncy snowballs from Chateau Christmas.
One of them broke. I saw one of them was real snow. But
was it the one she threw at him?
Yes. The rest of them, not so much.
Yeah, no. They were bouncy snowballs.
And so the kids are like, oh, can we make a giant gingerbread house that we can sleep in? And they're just like, no, there's not enough cookies in the world.
There is. You just don't have time to bake it.
And I was like, but what if we made it out of wood and made it look like a gingerbread house? They're like, yeah, can we do it? Can we do it? Let's do it. Can we do it? And the guy's like, I don't know. I'm not going to be here that long. And Maggie's like, are you going to be here tomorrow? He goes, yeah. What about the next day? Yeah. Friday? Yeah. So you're going to be here after the party then? Yeah. This is why you don't tell kids you're good at stuff. Because you're going to get roped up. They guilt him into doing it by saying, like, if you tell us how to do it, we'll do most of the work. Like, we'll build it because he's got one hand. And they're like, we'll do it. And he's just like, I guess, look at you off my back. There's this weird scene where they're decorating the tree again. Like, they go into the house, at Maggie's house, and she's just like, oh, and she's staring at the tree, and she's like, we have been decorating this tree the same way for years. Why?
Well, she answers why.
I know, but, like, how do you decorate the tree the same way? I don't think I've ever decorated a tree the same way, even if I tried.
Well, she's the artistic type, right? So
yeah.
She likes planning, she likes the color coordination, and she likes planning little ribbons and stuff. Like, I think she meant, like, in the same way of just throwing ornaments on it and being like, oh, that's nice.
Her ex-husband wanted things a very similar way. Very, like, boring every single time and kind of forced her into it.
Yeah, she's a very artsy type. We forgot to mention, she paints a lot.
That's true. And that is important. That art room, she paints a lot. She likes, she talks about spending time in Paris to paint it.
Yeah, and her ex-husband promised her Paris.
And never delivered because he was so busy working on his...
Insurance company,
thank you. And he was just too busy for his family. And are you sensing the connection here?
But she had the guts to stand up and be like, you don't have time for
And that's this. The thing. We get to the point where he's just like... Her ex-husband is emotionally abusive. Like, they're dancing around it.
Do you think so?
Yeah, they dance around it. And she's like, he was never there for us. And we were there, we were second place. And that might be good in the Olympics, but we never got to do these things. And he would always promise things. And we would have to do things a certain way. And he always thought this was boring, so we never did it. And
oh, shit.
Holy shit, red flags. Red flags.
But, this is presumably her second Christmas without her husband.
It sounds like it.
So, she's not used to decorating the tree the way she wants to.
Yeah, and so Lucas is just like, well, why don't we? It's like, well, doesn't Ellen like to decorate it a certain way? She's like, Ellen doesn't care about decorating the tree. She only cares what's under it. Bullshit! Kids love decorating trees.
That's true.
There is no possible way. When I was 11, Like, you loved decorating the tree. Making it as gaudy as humanly possible. Kid doesn't like decorating the tree.
That's true. I love gaudy decorations.
Absolutely.
We had M&M lights that I still miss to this day.
We have TARDIS lights that we have to use this year, remember?
Oh, yeah. No, but Ellen's not even here, right? Ellen left to be with her father because it's his turn to have the kid. And she, like, Ellen, even if we redecorate, Ellen would know.
Yeah. But Maggie is also like, yeah, I had to do everything. I had to take care of the kid, clean the house, cook dinner, do this and do that and do this. And they're trying to build it up like she was super mom. No, this is an abusive relationship she was in.
Yeah, when she had to do all the physical labor of taking care of a house.
Yeah.
And also work a job while he worked a job and expected her to do it. That's not.
Yeah. So they dance around it. And like I said, they build it up. She's just so good at being a mom. No, this was...
But the point being is that she had the guts to leave his ass. Right?
That is important. And like I said, Lucas himself sees the similarities between him and Maggie's ex.
Mm-hmm. In the workaholic sense, not the...
not in the abusive sense, but in the fact that he was going down that road if he were in... and like, his relationship fell apart because of it, too. Mm. So they go back to the program, where they have, like, an architecture montage.
There was, like, a Christmas song. It was very cute.
Yeah, and, like, he's showing them the plans that he drew up, and...
No, he drew them with him.
Oh, yeah, excuse me. Yeah, you're right.
Like... They pull the architecture paper out of the tube, and the little kid looks at it and goes, "It's blank."
You're right.
Because, you expect plans on this thing, and he's just like, well, we're going to build it together. Like, oh yeah, that makes much more sense.
Yeah, the little kid from the beginning is kind of bummed out, because he's like, his building gingerbread houses with his father is the thing that they always did, and because he's not there, he's sad that he won't be able to see the stuff they're doing. And so Lucas is kind of like takes him under his wing, and he's like, "You'll just hang out with me, and you'll be my number one guy," which is super nice. And this is the point where he's just like, we're doing a lot for the kids, but I want to do more for them. Mm. And Maggie's like, outside of bringing all their parents home for Christmas, I don't know what we can do. And he's just like, I'm gonna bring them home for Christmas. And she's like, I guess we're doing this now. So they go to the general.
No, it's Colonel.
Colonel, excuse me. And he's like, hey, bring your troops home. And she's like, I so don't have that capability.
They have, like, jobs and crap?
Yeah, and he's like, okay, thanks for talking to us. And she's basically like, I want them to have some sort of connection to their home. Like, I'll see what I can do. Give me the names that you need.
It's like 8 names. Like, it's not...
It's not much, but it's... Still.
And, like, what was it? Victoria there is like, hey, we've got, like, 1 trillion of these gingerbread kits. Do you want, like, 8 of them? They can build them, and then we can see what kind of places they are at, and they can build, like, gingerbread houses that correspond to wherever the heck they are. And they're like, all right, I see what you're going at. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So we're gonna see how they pull that one off. Lucas is officially offered the super big job at the super big firm doing a super big project for his boss. Mm-hmm. And he's been on sabbatical for the stuff that happened to him. Mm-hmm. And his boss is like, it's time to come in. We need you. New York. Big money. Mir. This is where you belong. We see this guy for one scene.
And he was kind of a jerk.
And Lucas is like, oh, well, that's me, I guess. We'll see. Mm-hmm. And Lucas gets swept up in the Christmas nonsense and dons his titular Christmas sweater.
And, like, the kids really smooth him out with making this this gingerbread playhouse, I guess.
Yeah. And Matt, he comes in and is like, all right, let's get ready for this ugly Christmas sweater white elephant thing we're going to with my family. And Mag's at her computer. He's like, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm buying gift bags for the kids. And he was like, I was going to do that tomorrow. You got to, like, let me help you here. You're too busy and too worried about other people. It's time to worry about you.
It's almost like she's running away from her problems.
Uh-oh. And then Maggie's like, you're right. I'm going to go get my Christmas sweater. And be warned, it's ugly. It's so bad. You think yours is bad? Mine is really bad. And he's just like, all right, I'm excited. Let's see it. Cut to commercial. Come back. And he's like, okay, are you ready? And he's like, I've been ready for 10 minutes, for God's sakes. And she comes down, and it's not a sweater, it's a shirt.
I think it was like, I thought it was a dress. Was it a shirt?
It might be a long shirt, kind of dressy. And the pattern is Christmas lights. It is a regular, like, it's a cotton shirt.
It's black with Christmas
lights. Black with Christmas lights on it. And they're just like, oh, wow, that is so... And she's wearing, like, a necklace made out of Christmas lights.
Which is way more gaudy than the actual, like, sweater dress.
Yeah, and they build it up like, oh, wow, that good taste has died. What are you doing?
Costuming couldn't find a really bad sweater
dress. I have regular shirts that look uglier than that.
I mean, it's not great, but doesn't deserve that reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, her necklace was real bad, where it's Christmas lights as a necklace.
And it actually plays music as well.
Oh, yeah. That's bad. That's real bad.
And so Lucas sits her down and he's like, hey, with us dressed like this, people are going to think we're a couple. And she's like, oh, wow, that would be ridiculous. And he's like, yeah, but we're not, right? And she's like, I guess. It's like, I'm just saying, people are going to think it.
Sure.
This conversation comes out of nowhere. Like, nobody has once thought, like, hey, you two are a couple.
Yeah, they haven't done the thing. How long have you been dating? Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. I was going to say, they don't do that in the movie, but they do it to themselves.
That's true.
Like, it's basically just like, we're not dating, right? That would be...
She's known you for 4 days.
It's silly.
But seriously, she's known you for like 4 days. Get over yourself.
Yeah. At the party, Lucas and his brother talk about his new job. And they're like, oh, let's go have eggnog. And they see this giant bowl that is filled with an 1/8 way to the top full of eggnog.
Yeah, because we couldn't afford to waste that much
I was going to say, if there is 2 ladles full of eggnog left in this bowl, I would be surprised.
It was late into the party, all right? And
well, it wasn't, because they just arrived, and he's like, it's time for eggnog. And
there was a lot of pre-gaming.
I guess. At the party, the gift exchange, one of their friends is video chatting because she couldn't make it. Their babysitter fell through. And Maggie has this idea, and they zoom in, and it's super intense, and she's just like, my God, that's it. We'll have the parents video call in. Why wasn't that plan A?
Because she didn't think of it.
I was going to say, but like they build it up like, oh, I've done it. Skype has been around for like 10 years.
It has. And Zoom ate its lunch in 2 weeks.
But like, did nobody... I thought when they were just like, oh, they're going to fly their parents home and they're going to surprise them. That'll be cute. And it's like, no, we'll video call them in. How is this a revelation?
I think it just never occurred to her that we could video chat in all the parents, right?
Yeah. But it's so strange. Did nobody think about Skype? This was clearly filmed before or this was written before the pandemic. Because we all know about video chat now, don't we?
That's true. We do.
And then there was just, God, that's a great idea. But that means we're going to have to spend 5 minutes with the colonel. She scares me. She scares me.
I mean, she's a colonel in the military. Like, she scares everyone.
Yeah. Lucas talks about how working with the kids has just restored his faith in, like, architecture and humanity, and he's become less of a prick to be around.
Yeah, because it's fun. You get to design a little gingerbread house instead of, like, a murderous skyscraper or whatever.
Exactly. Maggie is bummed out because her daughter is not with her, and because apparently only Lucas is allowed to mope. He's like, I will not have this. Switch spots. I'm driving now. And they're like, whoa.
Where were they going if he didn't know where they were going?
Yeah.
Like...
the answer is to Santa.
Yeah.
Santa's there, and he's like, we want your sleigh. And it's like a carriage ride, which is kind of cute.
Yeah. And Santa was like, ho, 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 I have a little bit of time off. I'm ahead of my Christmas schedule. We can't fly because there's bad weather.
Yeah. I'm out of here, ho, ho, ho's.
And it was actually quite cute how he stayed in character that way.
Yeah, this is actually a cute scene. And then they have like a little carriage ride around the place. And this is where he mentions...
Why he hates Christmas.
Why he hates Christmas? I'm sorry I missed it.
So his ex-fiancée, like, Christmas was never a big deal because he was working 70 hours a week. And so... apparently his ex on Christmas all they would do was like exchange gifts, have dinner, and that he would go back to work to his 70-hour-a-week job.
Okay.
And she's not having any of that shit.
So the reason he doesn't like Christmas is himself.
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of, that's kind of what I figured.
Like, the reason, probably a contributing factor why his ex-fiancée broke up with him was he went to work on Christmas when they should be spending time with each other. Like, they exchanged one gift and had dinner together. And then he just went back to work. Like,
yeah. That does blow.
You scheduled in your fiancé and then left.
Yeah.
Like, it was a business meeting. And you know it wasn't, like, all night. It was, like, an hour, Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm. If that.
Yeah. And you went back to whatever nonsense that architecture firm was. So, yes. I imagine he was a bit of a douchebag.
Yeah. So this is our, like, they're falling in love moment. But Maggie is, like, initially, she's just like, oh, he lives in New York. This isn't going to work.
Yeah. They do kiss, though.
They do.
And cuddle. That was cute.
That was cute. So, they put together the gingerbread house, the big gingerbread house that's made out of wood, and they surreptitiously not show it. They don't show it in, like, construction. Mm-hmm. So this better look awesome because you're building it up now. And putting together the gingerbread house, which they have surreptitiously not shown, has reignited his love for architecture, which is a really boring sentence to write.
Well, they did show a little bit. They saw them put a wood panel on one side, didn't they, or something like that?
Oh, yeah, but we don't see the whole thing.
That's true. Not till later.
Not till later. So the next day, they get clearance for the big video chat, and Lucas has set up a big surprise for Maggie, walking her into the guest room, and he has reorganized it into her art room, which is nice of him.
Which was real sweet. So
that wasn't her Christmas present, though. We will get to that later. They have another hug, which is kind of weirdly awkward because they like stare into space, just like, what are we? The next day, Lucas is sitting on a bench, and Maggie is running up to him, and I swear to God, this street is Christmas Tree Lane.
Me too. I thought so too. I was just half expecting. What was the name of the shop in Christmas Tree Lane? Riley's.
I think it was just like Riley's Music or Instruments or something.
I kept looking at the shop windows to see if any of them said Riley's.
It's the bench that old rich guy was just going to town on kolaches.
Yeah.
It's honest to God, I thought it was the same thing.
I'm pretty sure that's Christmas Tree Lane because it also have 15 trees on that street?
I believe it did.
And yeah, so
it's the HCU, the Hallmark Cinematic Universe. Everything's connected.
But those are different shops, right?
Yeah, they weren't the same thing.
So did they spend a day tearing down these signs and then putting different signs on them?
I gotta imagine.
Why couldn't they just say Christmas Tree Lane existed down the street from Maggie's or whatever?
Because we're not allowed.
All right,
different worlds. This scene isn't really important. Lucas just basically talks about how he got this big job offer and he has to end his sabbatical and he's going back to New York.
Turns out when you work 70 hours a week, you get a lot of vacation time.
Yeah, he has accrued a lot of vacation time, and they don't like that. Doesn't matter. Take your vacation time. You don't get paid extra.
Use it.
The night of the party. They get all dressed up, nice and fancy. Maggie is wearing that dress.
Yeah, she's wearing a real nice dress.
It's like this red ensemble. I don't know clothes names, but it's cute.
And he tried.
And they're both like, we're basically a couple at this point, let's face it. Let's go and look fancy together.
Mm-hmm.
We see this big gingerbread house, and it honestly looks pretty good for being made by a couple of kids.
Yeah.
And they like walk in and out of it, and the kid whose father's from Germany. Did we ever get his name?
I'm sure it happened.
I can't remember it. He's like super, super excited to see it. Maggie's ex brings their daughter to the party so they can see each other on Christmas, which is nice.
Forgot to mention that during her exposition of like the reason why they got divorced is because she felt like she was a super mom or whatever, right?
No, I mentioned that.
We forgot to mention the fact that she also dropped the fact that like she didn't feel satisfied in the marriage, so he dumped her and found someone who was willing to deal with his shit.
Oh, you know what? I missed that altogether.
Yeah.
Wow.
She says somewhere along the line, something to the effect of, I wasn't willing to put up with shit, so we immediately found someone else who would.
Wow. Abusive relationship, then and there.
Yeah, he's not a good person.
He's not a good person. But he did bring the kid, which is nice. So it could be worse.
Ellen did state, she calls at some point before this that says...
And is super bummed out that she's missing it.
And we know that her dad's also a bad person, because it's a normal house with no Christmas deco in it.
Oh, you're right.
This is a Hallmark movie. You guys could have thrown some deco on this.
No Christmas. It's like it's like wearing the black hat in a Western. No Christmas decorations, you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
Black hat, you're the bad guy. So the big suspense is whether or not this video chat thing will work. Mm-hmm. But then again, it's literally just a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it later. But it doesn't even look like a Zoom call.
It's a real clear Zoom call.
And so they're just like, I don't know if it'll work. Let's hope. Yeah, it will. Chill out. Lucas is talking to his brother and basically saying that he's already got his flight booked. Mm-hmm. And it's time to go. And Maggie overhears him and is just like, I'm devastated. And she's super cold about it the rest of the night. And he is just like, what has happened in the last 10 minutes? Because like she's immediately just like, you know what? It's for my daughter. We can't keep doing this if, it's not going to work. So we should just remain, friends. And I just don't think this is going to work. And if you're Lucas, this is the biggest, neck breaker of Whiplash. You're just, whoa, okay.
I thought we were jiving here. I thought we were vibing, and, what's happening here?
Whatever it was.
But he, respects it.
Yeah, and he doesn't fight. He's just like, I guess. All right. And Maggie is mopey the rest of the day. So when she leaves, Lucas mentions that he's quit the firm. He no longer works there. Mm-hmm. But she didn't hear that part. So she's super cold and mopey about it the rest of the night. This is why you don't jump to conclusions. Mm. We cut to commercial, and I realized that Life Cereal is still using the phrase, Mikey likes it. Do you guys know, does anybody know where that comes from?
I think it was an ad campaign from,
No, it was, but I'm asking, they're still using it, but the commercial had nothing to do with it.
Oh.
So do you guys know, you guys out there in podcast land, where the phrase Mikey likes it comes from? Why they use it?
Why do they like it? Why do they use it, cutie?
Okay, so the idea is there's this kid, his name is Mikey, and he won't eat any cereal that's not sugary and colorful and, super flavorful and that kind of thing. And he tries Life Cereal, and he keeps eating it. And his brother looks at him and goes, he likes it, Mom! Mikey likes it! And it's kid-tested, mother-approved. Mm-hmm. But I was just saying, that the commercial had nothing to do with anybody named Mikey.
That's true.
Anyway, not important. It was a commercial, and it just confused me.
And also on that note about commercials, that we should just note, Chewy.com put a guinea pig in a Christmas hat, and I just want to put that out there.
That's true.
It was real cute. I don't care what you feel about Chewy.com, but there was a guinea pig in a Christmas hat.
Well, we'll show you the picture. Check Twitter. Twitter.com/Aquadia_.
Yeah. Because someone took Aquavidia, and I thought, what the hell, I'll just throw an underscore in there.
But yeah, so Maggie is super mopey the rest of the night, kind of bringing everything down. And they get ready to do this whole thing, and they introduce the fact that they're doing the video call with the soldiers. And this is the part that got to me. Super manipulative. Soldiers seeing their family for the first time. I cried like a little girl. It was literally, it came out, I wasn't even aware of it. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, hi guys, I saw your gingerbread house. And I'm like, oh my God. And so, all the kids are just like, oh my God, it's my parents.
And the parents are weirdly good at gingerbread houses.
Yeah. Also, this is not a Skype call or a Zoom call. They made videos. Because there's no back and forth between the people in the scene and the people on the thing. It's very clearly just they shot videos and did the thing. Mm. But, dude, soldiers coming home for Christmas slays me every single time. Even if it's in a silly Hallmark movie. So they all the soldiers made gingerbread houses as well, and so it was like they got to make them together, and it's a really cute scene, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I always like this kind of stuff. So the party ends. Maggie's super cold, and Lucas is like, I guess I'll get a ride with my brother, and she's like, fine, you better. All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
And we have this super wistful, like, he's standing in the guest house looking at the main house, and the light goes off, and he's just like, and, like, takes a sip of a coffee.
Because we can't have cigarettes.
Yeah. Like an old widow standing at the shore of the sea waiting for her husband to come back from war. And he's just like, oh, sadness.
And then she sadly makes coffee the next morning.
We have a sad coffee drinking montage.
Yeah.
Where she just... Na, na, na,
because it's sad bean juice, yes.
It is sad bean juice, yes.
Because it tastes like sadness.
Lucas is leaving the next day because his doctor has given him the okay to fly. And so he stops by the front door, which he never does, and gives Ellen a Christmas gift. It's Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Which is the first time I think we've seen that.
Yeah.
In one of these movies.
Usually it stops on whatever time's constraint.
Christmas Eve or the Jingle Bell Ball or whatever it is.
Yeah, so Ellen has spent Christmas morning with her dad, and so she comes back for a Christmas dinner.
Yeah, for
it's a very bright Christmas evening.
I think it's actually Christmas Day, like,
yeah,
because they're opening presents.
No, but she said Ellen's coming over for Christmas evening. That's the whole reason why Maggie was sad in the first place.
But Ellen was there when he dropped off the gifts.
Yeah, because remember she said the turkey's in the oven and it'll be another 10 minutes.
No, clearly I don't.
So this is supposed to be Christmas dinner.
Wow, that's why it threw me off, because it is noon.
Yeah, that's why I was like, this is a very bright dinner.
I didn't catch that part. That one went over my head. So he hands them each a gift. He gives Ellen this little gift box. And she's a fan of some, like, online game. And he gives them, like, in-game currency.
And it's cute.
Basically gives her, like, e-bucks.
Yeah.
And gives Ellen this big gift. And he's like, you can open it whenever. And she's like, oh, I got you a gift, too. And she hands him the gift he got. Mm-hmm. And they just leave. And they're like, okay.
It was super awkward.
Goodbye forever. Later that night, she opens her gift, and it's the titular sweater, which is kind of cute.
Yeah, it only got real dark for 6 o'clock.
Yeah, and like an hour later, it's midnight. No, it's actually dinner time, and she opens it up. It's like, oh, it's the sweater, and then something falls out of the sweater, and I was like, oh, it's a card, probably saying like I love you or something like that. Kinda. They're 2 tickets to Paris.
We're going to Paris.
2 tickets to Paris for a woman he's known for like 5 days.
And hit him with a Christmas tree.
What a gift, man. Damn.
Damn.
She calls him immediately, and she's like, I've fucked up forever. Please call me back. Cut to him in the car and with his best friend. Because he says, you got her tickets to Paris? I've been your best friend for 2 decades, and I think you gave me a watch. Once. Lucas opens his present from Maggie, and it is a coffee table book of a architect that his father worked for. And that sparked his initial love for architecture. And so this is a connection to him when he really loved doing this.
Yeah, turns out she wasn't aggressively looking for gift bags this entire movie. She was looking for
this, and it was a very difficult gift to find. This is a very cute gift exchange scene.
It is.
And he's like, oh, stop the car. He's like, what? Stop the car. He goes, are we going back? Oh, yeah, we're going back.
Oh, yeah. And his friend is on board with this shit. I don't even know where he's going. If he's not, is he going back to New York?
I think, yeah, the tickets he bought were the Paris ones. And I guess I am going back to New York. I'm coming with you guys. So they hard turn the other direction. And he's knocking on the door. And she opens it up wearing the sweater.
It's very cute.
And she's like, oh, you got my message. And he's like, yeah, no, what message? No, I came back because of this. And he holds up the book. And he's like, realize that what I want to do is not build skyscrapers and these huge buildings. I want to stay here and build things with kids, and this is what reignited my love. I want to stay here with you guys and build things here. And she was like, what about, going back? You have your firm. So I quit that job a week ago. What are you talking about? She's like, oh, I heard you talking about going back. It's like, yeah, that's buying the tickets. The Paris thing, remember?
Also, if I'm moving here, I have to go back and grab all my stuff anyway.
Yeah, I have stuff over there that I need to get.
I have to, terminate my lease.
There's so much paperwork I have to deal with. I have to go back eventually, but I'm staying here for the long run. And so they have...
I only have a suitcase worth of clothing.
Yeah, that's true. And they have a nice little, reconciliation moment. And it's pretty cute.
And now kiss.
They have the kiss. They don't do the Merry Christmas, male protagonist. Merry Christmas, female protagonist. Mwah. There's no, romantic, snow falling. She, jumps on him, and she's like, hell yeah! We did it, Reddit!
And he was kind of like, wait, that's why you were moping? Is that what you were doing here?
It's like, we need to work on our conversational skills.
Yeah.
But he comes in for Christmas dinner. They have to set another table. Lucas stays, where his passion for architecture has been reignited. Maggie and Ellen get to go to Paris like they always wanted. Lucas and Maggie are together. Everyone's happy. Curtain down.
We forgot about the fact that he goes inside and then comes back outside, grabs a suitcase, and comes back inside.
I already said curtain down. Review over. Yeah, and he does do a thing where he comes in, closes the door, and then a second later he opens it up and goes, whoops, grabs his bag and comes on in. But yeah, so this one is pleasant.
Yeah.
It's a nice little low stakes kind of movie.
The Christmas ball isn't going to be ruined if he didn't build
nothing crazy was gonna happen. It was just a light Christmassy fare. It's not great, but it's good. It's good. I would say it's not the best one we've seen, but it is enough for me to I guess to recommend. You don't have to run right out and see it, but if it's on and you're flipping through the channels, I would say go for it. I'm gonna go with a 6.5.
Really?
Yeah.
It's passable. It feels like a C. If you had to give it a C, I'm gonna give it just a 7. It's fun because what's the word I'm looking for? There are no high stakes. Nothing's gonna shut down. The Christmas pageant isn't going to do anything. And we forgot to mention the part where he comes into the center for the first time, and he sees all the trees. There's 30 trees in there. Mm-hmm. And he goes is that the one? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Is that the one? And then he sees the undecorated one, and it's like, you,
my nemesis. But yeah, so 6.75. I think that's a solid score.
Yeah.
We're hanging on to here. But yeah, so it's a solid little movie. I liked it better than 12 Dates of Christmas. That one was really bad.
That was a little rough.
So it's nice to kind of get back to form, I suppose. Where you would say these Hallmark Christmas movies are.
Mm-hmm. What could they have done better, QT?
I don't know. It's not the most interesting. Mm-hmm. Those low stakes are kind of nice in that you don't have to put a whole lot of thought into this movie, but also you don't have to put a whole lot of thought into this movie. Mm-hmm. Nothing's going to challenge you. Nothing really made me sit up and go, wow, gotta watch that. It wasn't super funny, and it wasn't super dramatic, and it wasn't super, there's no tour de force. It is good at what it does, but it's not great.
Yeah, it's a C average.
Yeah, it is a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes kind of movie. Nah, maybe even lower than that. But
no, but he should have had a much more tragic backstory for being such a prick.
Being such a wang of a whole film. But his redemption arc, his face turn.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I thought he was a pretty decent guy. Mm-hmm. Solid actor. A lot of chemistry between the two. And so that was nice. I was happy they got together. in the exact opposite way of the 12 Dates of Christmas, when I was like, I could care less if you guys either get together or die later on in the film. You mean nothing to me.
That's Madalena and Dirk.
I know, but that's why it bums me out. That's why I was so sad that is technically the worst movie we've seen so far.
I know. But this one's pretty good.
But this one is solid. It's okay. I dig it.
I dig it too. I liked, one, we got to see Victoria from How I Met Your Mother again. So
yeah, she's a good actress.
Yeah.
She's fun.
She is a ball of sunshine in this one, and that was nice.
A ball of sunshine and How I Met Your Mother, too.
Near the end, she's kind of spiteful ball of sunshine, isn't she?
Well, Ted puts her through the ringer.
Yeah, and she left a dude at the altar for him, and, well...
That's, good point.
Guys,
you're right.
Go watch How I Met Your Mother. She's great.
Yeah.
She's in, 2 seasons. Right?
2.5.
Because she's in the first one and then, the last one.
The second to last one, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Anyway, so she does a great job. They have the nicest house for a second grade school teacher.
That's what I mean. She's making bank and he can afford tickets to Paris. They're doing okay.
Well, he is a New York architect. Bank is expected,
True.
Right? But, what? Is she an heiress to something?
To education.
Because, she had 6 of those, lamp posts that I want to buy from Walmart. And those things are $50 a pop. You know?
Big money. But yeah, so, it's solid. Mm-hmm. I think it's...
We were on Christmas Tree Lane for a little bit.
We were on Christmas Tree Lane for a little bit. The connections are starting to form between the movies. By the end, we're going to have, the Holiday Avengers. Dude, that'd be dope. I'd watch that.
Write it.
I'll be back. But yeah, so I think that pretty much sums it up for this one.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we're going to do the live stream for, I think it's called The Christmas Ring.
Yeah.
Which...
That's going to be silly.
That sounds boring. But we'll watch it together. And hopefully that makes it a little bit better.
Yeah.
So you can check that out. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Empty Square on Twitter. EMPTYSQUARE. Cutie?
I'm at Aquadia _ AQUADIA _
And of course you can find us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Empty Square. EMPTYSQ. Weren't you listening? If you want to chip us a couple of bucks, you get some behind the scenes stuff. That kind of thing.
Yeah, you get to listen to what we say when we're trying to do a mic check, and that's kind of fun.
That's never good for anybody. So we got that. And until tomorrow, should they watch The Thing?
They should watch The Thing. It's fun. She once again falls in love with a douchebag architect. It's great.
That is true.
And, it's fun. If it's on TV, watch it.
Watch The Thing.
Yeah.
It's fun to be back.
It's fun.
All right. Then we will see you guys tomorrow.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I love you. Bye-bye.
I love you. Bye-bye. Go have a Christmas Starbucks.
Yeah.
Not sponsored, but would be sponsored if they asked.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys. Merry Christmas. Bye.